Hey, this is Notser, and this is the Tier 9 Japanese destroyer Kagero. It has 6 main guns, 8 torpedoes, 19 AA guns, a surface detection of 5.4 kilometers, top speed 35 knots, total health 15,100. For my modules, reduced crit chance on torpedo tubes, faster torpedo aim, lower cooldown on torpedoes, lower chance of flood and fire, faster rudder shift and concealment. For my commander, situation awareness, lower cooldown on torpedoes, superintendent, last stand, and concealment. We are on the map The Atlantic, and this is a double replay video. The first one will obviously be from the Kagero, because you're watching it right now. The second one will be from a Fletcher. So it'll be a nice compare and contrast. Same tier, same class, but very different playstyle. Now, I'm headed forward. I have the maximum theoretical concealment. There's nobody who could have better concealment in this game. I have both the module and the commander skill, plus, of course, the camouflage. So I should be the last target spotted. There's no aircraft carriers to ambush me with their aircraft. I have complete dominance over intel for both sides, and I want to take advantage of that. So we're in the middle. We see the enemy. It looks like they're deploying towards the islands in the northeast side. For some reason on the North American server, this is just the accepted strategy. The south spawn will head towards the islands in the northeast side. I don't make the rules. I just try and exploit any weaknesses in them. And one of those weaknesses is they're moving basically parallel to my ship right now, and I'm trying to send my torpedoes. There's a lot of congestion, so I tried to send one at the indicator and one slightly behind. I would love to hit more than one ship. I would especially love to force them to work against each other. A lot of times when you see a torpedo, you're kind of all or nothing, trying to avoid it yourself. You're not really paying attention to anyone else, and you might get yourself in trouble. Friendly spot an enemy Mayhan who's aggressively moving into the islands. I bet he didn't expect to see an Atlanta and a Benson. I try and tell my team, hey, gotta take it out. The Japanese destroyers have terrible range. I don't have any way to help them right now. I'm moving towards them, but I don't have a way to help them right now. And I take a quick look at my torpedo system. It looks like I could hit the Aweigh and the Colorado, but they're probably going to avoid it. The Miyoko probably spotted it out, and a good captain will notice that there are obviously torpedoes coming. Enemy Hatsuharu shows up before I'm able to get in range of the enemy Mayhan, so I'm going to engage him. We knocked out his propulsion. One torpedo made contact, caused flooding, and that's all. It looks like the Colorado was able to hide behind the Aweigh. Dang you. And the Hatsuharu is actually spotted because he's continuing to move outside of his smoke. The Mayhan is almost dead. We are not in range of him. We never were in range of him. It looks like they finished the Mayhan off, and the Hatsuharu has used damage control, so if we knock out his propulsion, which it looks like we've done, he will be in deep trouble. He's going straight at a friendly cruiser. This is a terrible scenario for the cruiser. There's going to be torpedoes in the water, and the Atago sends his out first. Will they hit the Hatsuharu? He's so slow. Oh, it looks like he actually avoids every single torpedo, but the Atago is able to finish him off. Now, I don't need the kill, so I'm just there to make sure he dies. I would prefer someone else get the kill. Our torpedoes are already back up, and we are looking for a possible target. This Iowa-class battleship is sort of heading straight for our base. Most of my team has headed out in the southwest side of the map. Usually the normal meta for the north spawn in North America. I don't know what Europe's like, I don't know what Russia's like, I don't know what Southeast Asia is like, but that is what North Americans prefer to do for whatever reason. So the middle is usually left wide open. I don't think I will be able to get a lot of strikes on the Iowa because he's coming right at me, but if he reorients himself to maybe engage the Atago, shows a ton of his side, we can possibly exploit that mistake. And again, there's a ton of ships very close together. We actually might hit this Miyoko, but I think the Miyoko spotted it out with the aircraft, and he's slowing down. Yeah, I think he's not going to get hit by it. I think he's out of the danger zone. And it looks like the Iowa was fine. I noticed that there was a torpedo, and sometimes an allied torpedo will show up. Oh, we actually did get him! We got one on the Iowa, and we finish off the enemy Miyoko. That's awesome. We probably caused flood. Yeah, we definitely caused a flood on the Iowa. He would have to use damage control. And I believe he has, so he's susceptible to fire. Now, I don't have range. Again, the weakness of the Japanese destroyer is the terrible range. But I can send my torpedoes again. And we have a much better angle, so I do a quick check, and of course, the friendly destroyer is in the way again. So I would rather not risk sending torpedoes and him turning into them and blaming me. I'm going to try and adjust my positioning to be inside of his, so there's no risk whatsoever that he will take a torpedo from me. I don't know if he knows this, but he just happens to be in the worst position every single time for me. Now, I lined up on the Colorado and I sent one at, one behind. The Colorado is extremely slow compared to the Iowa. I believe the speed difference is nearly 10 knots. It's ridiculous. But that also means that the Colorado, he probably just wants to get with his team. He doesn't want to fall behind, so I felt like he would continue on course. He did have an easy avenue to sail in between those islands. We don't have any presence in the northeast side of the map. We are only getting intel because of that aircraft that is just hovering over the dead corpse. And I'm thankful for that. Good job, aircraft. And it looks like we actually might hit the Colorado. The Colorado readjusted. It looks like he's going back into a opening between two islands. Interesting choice. One torpedo makes contact. The next one, yes, boonk. We're able to do 24,000 points of damage, cause flooding. Most likely he's going to use damage control. And he's actually using his heel too. But our torpedoes are almost up again. It's just so awesome. And that Iowa actually died. He was the counter to me, theoretically. Wargaming balances around that a destroyer is a counter to a battleship, so a tier 9 battleship is equivalent, in their eyes, to a tier 9 destroyer. I can't tell you how many times I see, oh, good matchmaking, 2 tier 9 battleships against 0. Well, that's not how it's balanced. Notice the 3 tier 9 destroyers. Those are actually a threat. I sent my set to the Aweigh. I believe that he would continue on his course. He's got an island chain that he has to deal with. And there are certainly a lot of ships that we don't see. There's only 3 on the map that we have identified right now. Where are the other 3? At least one destroyer was somewhere in the south side of the map. And I have definitely seen a cruiser somewhere north of the islands, actually probably around A5 or 6. Yeah, you see that guy? He's headed north of the islands. Our torpedoes look like they will be successful on the Aweigh. It's just how many? Probably 2? Looks like 2. Oh, we get 4! We get 4 on the Aweigh. Of course, every single one causes flooding. Most likely he has damage control and he's used it. Don't have any idea what his health is at right now. But a enemy Colorado appears to either be burning or flooding from a friendly destroyer who is just going at him. It really is a challenge to be in a Colorado. I feel for these guys. They are continuously the slowest ships. It takes them forever to get into an area, and most of the time their friendlies will leave them behind right in the clutches for destroyers to take them out, and that Colorado is killed. The Aweigh actually didn't have damage control available. He is dying to a dot. And I don't see a fire. It looks like, yeah, it was us. We got a devastating strike out of that. He did one last fire for effect, but nowhere near me. Looks like he was actually firing on the friendly cruiser, who is not looking good. Poor guy. I could use my smoke, but oh, see that? That's a huge threat right there. And I would love him to fire on him. I don't really want to reveal my position. Now, some of you will be critical of me. Why are you leaving this guy out to dry? Well, I believe my team has a better chance of success if I stay alive. I would love to send my torpedoes at this York. Sometimes players who are far away from the action will be a little bit more susceptible to torpedoes. You know, maybe they're getting a little bit lazy because there hasn't been anything around them. Those are the perfect ambush opportunities for Japanese destroyers, in my opinion. And I'm just barely in range to engage this guy. It really isn't worth me showing myself to this guy. I didn't plan on having to defend the base. I planned on attacking the enemy as they moved to the northeast side of the map. It just so happened that everyone died who was around our base or left, and I had to stay in the area. There was too much of a threat that destroyer would try and capture A. Now, there's an enemy Atago, and this Atago is interesting. Notice the York. Yeah, of course he's going to avoid the torpedoes. Why? Why? It's whatever. It's whatever. But the Atago pulls a Notser. He runs right into an island, and now he's a sitting duck. Friendly New Orleans has range. I don't have range quite yet. I do move in range. And initially I was going to wait for my torpedoes. I was going to use them on the Atago, and he was going to die to those torpedoes. We have 10 seconds left. Notser's just waiting. You see the enemy aircraft fly overhead. I confirm. I did do a quick check at the time. Is my AA off? AA is off. Enemy Atago sent torpedoes forward. They're not going to hit anything. We considered using the torpedoes right there, and then we just thought, you know what? He's probably going to change his heading straight forward. It's probably not going to hit him. So what I end up doing is I end up sending torpedoes towards the enemy York. I don't have any way of engaging the York, and we've kind of pushed the enemy destroyer towards the Allies. Mutual destruction between the New Orleans and the Atago. My torpedoes are still headed towards the York. And we have an enemy Colorado right in front of us. And at this point, I was done making indecisive decisions. I'm going to try and push towards the enemy destroyer, find him, and destroy him. We did see he was sort of in between a triangle of allies, and there he is. We spot him out just slightly before he spots us. He has basically everything but the 5th skill on the commander. Fire on his position. He chooses to use his smoke. Now we wait. Please show up. Oh, he shows up. We fire. And he disappears before we're able to get any real damage on the target. I know that he has come to a complete stop, but it doesn't matter. Allies capture the base. So the torpedoes worked out well. A little indecisive near the end. I would have liked to keep the New Orleans up. 2 kills, 1,658 base XP with probably 130,000 points of damage. Pretty solid game in the Kagero. And this is a pretty standard Japanese destroyer game. Long-range torpedoes, avoid contact with the enemy, and hopefully you land your torpedoes. That's really what you need in your Japanese destroyers. Now, let's see something completely different in the Fletcher. This is the Tier 9 US destroyer, Fletcher. She has 5 main guns, 10 torpedoes, 22 AA guns, a surface detection of 5.8 kilometers, top speed 36.5 knots. Total hull 17,100. For my modules, reduce crit chance on main battery, increase main battery accuracy, increase rate of fire on the main battery, reduce crit chance on propulsion, faster rudder shift, concealment. For my commander, situation awareness, faster turret traverse, superintendent, last stand, and concealment again. We are on the map Trap, and there's just something about US destroyers. You kind of feel like you're right on the edge, and I love that feeling. I hope everyone enjoys this game. I love this game. I had to share it immediately. I did this game probably 30 or 40 minutes ago. Now, initial spawn. I was in the center of the map. I figured B makes the most sense. I really believe in the 2-1 split. If you maintain that 2-1 split advantage, you will most likely win the game. So of course, I head straight to B. I have fantastic concealment on this ship too, the best you could theoretically get in a US destroyer 5.8. I have the module concealment, the commander skill concealment, and I also have the camo. There's only a Japanese destroyer that could theoretically spot me before I spot them. So I see that I'm not capturing the base. So I decide to send my torpedoes towards that island. It has a nice ridge line that outlines the base capture area, and most likely an enemy destroyer will be using it to avoid contact. Now I choose to use narrow. Narrow is very hard to avoid even at the max range that the torpedoes could go to. It's just a better way to attack even a target that you don't know their location. Now I thought someone was sitting in the smoke. Oh, we got a torpedo hit. Oh, we killed him. I think he died to the flood. Yeah, first blood, devastating strike, enemy destroyer taken out. But you notice, he is not the only enemy destroyer that was on the point. I don't think he was the one who dropped the smoke. I think he was just not paying attention. Notice the torpedoes never got to any smoke. He just was not looking. He probably never thought torpedoes were going to come towards him, and it was just blind luck that he was in the wrong place. Well, the right place at the right time for me, the worst place for him. And we're just slowly moving around. I'm hoping to run into one of them. I still have my smoke available. And those who are astute, I'm running defensive fire. I want to try eliminating enemy scout planes. I have heard it's very effective at this. Enemy torpedoes are sent. I try and warn my team, hey, there's torpedoes. Careful, careful, careful. I wish there was a better way of doing this. If anyone knows a way that I could target the torpedoes and maybe do a call out, I would love that. I don't think there is, though. And we are still not capturing the base. So there's still an enemy destroyer somewhere in the smoke, somewhere in that area, and we actually waited out the smoke. This is my chance. I decide I'm going to rush the smoke. I'm going to see where he is because he's going to show up. He doesn't have any protection anymore. And I feel like I can win in a 1v1 destroyer duel, especially when I have backup from an Otago or another ship. It's no contest. This guy's going down, and I just need to spot him. Where is he? There is a threat at this New Orleans, and we do lose our Otago, so this is not perfect. But we will still continue on this path. We have chosen it. Enemy New Orleans is a threat to fire on us. I just double check where his turret is faced. Where are you? I know you're there. I know you're still very close. We do have our torpedoes. Oh, there he is. It was a Shimakaze. Interesting. We should eliminate this guy. It's no contest. U.S. destroyer completely obliterates the Japanese destroyer. And just look at this rate of fire. It is stupid high. He's already had to use damage control. We've already knocked out his engine again. I think he chooses to use his smoke, but his engine is knocked out. He doesn't have full control, so he's going to slowly creep out of the smoke, and we should be able to finish him. I rotate around, trying to get my guns back in position. I want to maximize my ability to do damage while minimizing the damage I take, because every hit point matters. And we killed him. Yes. That is a huge kill. Taking out a tier 10 is a huge deal, and he tried to send torpedoes. Shimakaze has a ton of torpedoes, so I'm again careful. Torpedoes, torpedoes, torpedoes. Nobody is preventing us from capturing B, though, so that's exactly what we want to do. We're going to capture B for our team. This is a huge deal. This fundamentally changes the way the enemy team has to play the match, or they're going to lose. So, now that we have this, there's a couple targets that we could go after. I prefer to use torpedoes on non-destroyer targets. It's just safer. And destroyers are pretty awesome for the US line, especially high tier. These destroyers are just as good as any Japanese destroyers. You know, most of the time you're not going to land the 26-kilometer range torpedoes that the Japanese destroyers have. It's nice to have, don't get me wrong, but most of my torpedo strikes happen when I am close enough that obviously I have torpedo range, even gun range, but they can't spot me. That's really the bread and butter. It limits the time that the target will have maneuvered. And there's actually quite a lot of torpedoes in the water. Enemy gearing, you saw him just disappear. He sent out torpedoes. I considered the Amagi, but I have a friendly Amagi that's going to cut across. It's not safe to drop them. You just can't do that. And here comes some more torpedoes. This isn't good. This was from the US destroyer, sorry. The other one was not from the gearing. It had 4 sets. US destroyers generally have 5 sets of torpedoes. It was probably the Otago that's right in front of us. So What does that mean? Well, that means the gearing will not have torpedoes for a minute. It means the Otago has used their torpedoes, and they're probably coming back up very shortly. This Otago is extremely close. I did not actually expect it to be that close. I didn't want to be spotted. Since I'm spotted, I choose to use my smoke, and I'm going to use my guns. Now, the torpedoes might get to the target, but he's dying pretty fast, and that's okay. We get a fire, so one more fire towards our goal, and we kill him with our guns outright before the torpedoes even get there. If I had to do it all over again, I would use the torpedoes on this enemy North Carolina. Since I don't have the torpedoes, I'm trying to reorient the entire ship so all guns can fire. And I think the North Carolina is actually looking for me. Remember, I was moving when I dropped my smoke, so he is actually near my smoke. And by the way, that Otago did not appreciate me killing him. This North Carolina is rotating slowly. And we are still trying to get a fire on that superstructure. I think we have good aim. We're just not getting the fire lit. And you can see exactly where I'm trying to place these rounds. I'm trying to place them on basically the command tower, the smokestacks, and there's a fire, but he uses damage control. He's firing on a friendly who dies right next to me. He doesn't have the benefit of smoke. And now we switch to AP. This might be controversial to some players. AP with a destroyer is actually very effective against a battleship that is showing a perfect broadside. If I had access to all my guns, I would be doing way more damage, but for now, each salvo of 2 guns is doing about 1100, 1500, but he does start angling his ship slightly. And you'll notice that the rounds are ricocheting, doing minimal damage. This is the point when you need to swap back to HE Notser. Swap back to HE Notser. Please don't embarrass me. There you go. Oh, Notser's so smart. That was a little too long. When the target is angled like that, it's just not effective. You need to swap back to HE, and you need to go back to the superstructure. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're firing on the superstructure. He fires on us. We're able to avoid one round. It lands right in the water in front of us. We take another. And now he's back to broad. But yeah, we're a little far away. This arc is probably plunging a little bit more than I would like. We do have the opportunity to get a fire, and we are placing the rounds where they need to go. But we're not getting that fire. Come on, get the fire. And you can see his front gun slowly rotating to engage me. I just expect it. Incoming rounds, here they come. We got as neutral as we could get, so it's going to be very hard for him to land any shots. None make contact with the ship. He is barely alive, although I would love that fire. Come on. And now it's perfectly plunging. We could, potentially, if we got the deck, get a plunge down, but it's a little bit safer to just stay with the superstructure and try and get fires. And he's trying to out-heal the damage. Kill him! Kill him! Yes, we kill him. Enemy Fubuki was trying to engage us while we engaged the enemy North Carolina. It was very important we take that North Carolina out. We didn't have smoke. We are all in on this. And now the Fubuki is regretting his life choices. I didn't realize the U.S. destroyer was this strong. Yep. It's not even fair. It's not even fair. If I was better at aiming, it would be even worse. And now we're tracking a little bit better. There we go. 1400. He's trying to avoid. I try and compensate. We land a little bit on the front. We completely destroy his front gun. And now he's got his propulsion knocked out. Friendly finishes him off. That's okay. You know, whatever. We kill him. That's the important thing. Enemy North Carolina is coming into range of my torpedoes, so I'm going to send them out. I do drop off the radar. There is a little tiny island, which hopefully I was able to avoid. And I don't see any other targets on the map. There is an enemy battleship engaging a friendly that is around sea, but that's it. Where are the other 3 ships? There's no way they could hide. The smoke is right in front of me. No one is capturing. Okay, there's a Tirpitz. And we just double check. Yeah, we're going to barely clear that island. In reality, we could probably never send those torpedoes out there. They would not be able to clear just how shallow the water would be. But this isn't reality, Notser. This is a video game. I know. And we might get one. It doesn't look like he continued his heading. He is distracted by engaging a friendly. Looks like only one is going to make contact right on the nose, so it does cause a flood. Oh, New Orleans, did you see that for half a second? We have to use our smoke. I noticed on the mini-map that the New Orleans had spotted me, or a cruiser had spotted me, so I had to use it while I was still in the view of the torpedo. And since we've used it, we might as well fire from it. We cause one fire, and he is very annoyed by this. Anytime you see a cruiser or a battleship turn his nose directly at the smoke and head straight for it, they want to kill you. They want to get within that 2-kilometer range and take you out. So what I'm going to do, very slyly, I'm going to slowly inch my way out of the smoke, and I'm going to force him to have to sail even longer through the smoke. And he still doesn't see me. We do switch to AP, which was incorrect. At the time, I thought I might be able to penetrate that front, but it's just too angled. We swap back to HE. Please do not switch to AP in that scenario like I did. I send out my torpedoes just to make sure. Looks like he recognizes the threat, but it's too late for you. Either the guns would have killed him, or the torpedoes. Ally takes the kill, you know, whatever. We're able to use our damage control and get rid of the fire. We are detected. I just wanted to double check where the enemy guns were pointed. The Tirpitz was not pointed at us. And the North Carolina is pointed at us, so we need to be careful. Okay, we drop off. Good, good. And we've basically been at B the entire time. Oh, a sexy Yamato's right next to me. Hubba hubba. I can't wait to get my hands on the Yamato. I just want to touch every part of that ship. I want to fire all guns on the Yamato. It's just such a strong ship. I just can't wait. But for now, Notser, hold on, let's chill out. There's a game to be won. We're going to send our torpedoes towards the enemy Tirpitz. I did consider the North Carolina, but there was an island that was sort of in the way. I did not want to deal with that. Not that it's going to matter, Notser. The game's over, so I fire to get a little bit more damage in. Yeah, 891 points of damage. Most important damage in the whole game. Over 500,000 credits earned, yes. Devastating strike, first blood, 4 kills, 7 fires, 232 shells landing on the target. 2,824 base XP, just a solid carry. Huge XP earned. And we did somewhere in the realm of 70 to 80,000 points of damage. Just a solid game. We held B, we took on all comers, and we were victorious. I hope you enjoyed both of these games. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.